Hi guys, and welcome back. Today we are looking at the next in the series of the OCR A-level criterion, which is distinguish between static and dynamic efficiencies. So the previous videos we looked at productive efficiency, allocative efficiency and economic efficiency, and now we're moving into the next couple of efficiencies, static and dynamic. So let's just consider the directive word first of all. So it's a very straightforward, this one, distinguish between. So let's just have a basic understanding of it. I'm going to give you a little bit more than a basic understanding in this video, at least I hope so. So let's get straight to it. So what do we mean by static efficiency? So static efficiencies means that we are comparing efficiencies in firms in possibly different market structures at a specific point in time. And this is the key difference here, ladies and gentlemen, time. Whereas in dynamic, the whole notion of dynamic efficiency is that we are making comparisons about efficiencies over time. So let me just consider, first of all, with you the whole notion of static efficiency comparison by way of two very, hopefully familiar to you by now, market structures diagrams. So here we have the long run, perfectly competitive market structure. And here we have the long run monopoly. And you can see quite clearly, I hope, that the perfectly competitive firm is making normal profit and the monopolist is making abnormal. But the key point here, ladies and gentlemen, is of course the whole notion of efficiencies, comparing these efficiencies. And so which ones do we want to compare? We want to compare productive and allocative. So what's productive efficiency? Minimum ATC. Bang on it right there on perfect competition. What's allocative? Allocative means that price equals marginal cost, or the revenue that you get for selling the last unit produced is equal to what it costs you to make it. And again, P is equal to MC right at that point. Move across to monopoly. Do we experience both or either of those efficiencies? No, of course we do not. It is not productively efficient because there is the minimum point of the ATC curve, but we are slightly to the left of that, as you can see. And does price equal marginal cost? Well, no. We know that marginal cost equals marginal revenue gives us the profit maximizing output level, QMON, and MC equals MR there, giving us a price determined by the demand curve there. But of course, the key point here is that marginal cost is there. So price is greater than marginal cost. So at a point in time, the monopolist is not as efficient as the perfectly competitive firm. But here's a useful diagram, ladies and gentlemen, and I was showing, I had a revision day here yesterday, and I was showing some staff and students from other schools this diagram, which one of my students used on a previous exemplar exam paper. In fact, it was last year's A-level micro, and it was this one. And this is a great diagram for showing dynamic efficiencies over time. And what we're showing here is how the monopolist over time can use its abnormal profit to invest in R&D, consequently improve its efficiencies, consequently lower costs, and ultimately maybe charge a price which is less than the price originally charged by the perfectly competitive firm. So I'll show you what I mean on this diagram. For simplicity, I'm assuming that average total cost equals marginal cost in both of these curves. I haven't written it there, but that's what I'm assuming. Just keeps the diagram nice and simple. And you'll remember over here, of course, that the perfectly competitive firm produces at an output where P equals MC. So, if we take, first of all, the higher cost curve here, the blue line, P equals MC, right there, so it's where MC crosses the demand curve, which is basically the same as that diagram, gives us that price, that level of output. The monopolist is maximizing profit, where MC equals MR, which is that level of profit, and of course price is determined by the position on the demand curve, which is there. So that's our price, that's our output. And it's your standard sort of understanding of the comparison, which is price is higher under monopoly and the monopolist charges that higher price by restricting the level of output. Okay, so we're going to earn lots of abnormal profit, as we see on this diagram here, and as we could also illustrate by this shaded area here. Well, what if over time, dynamically, the monopolists invest this into research and development, improving technology, increasing productivity, all that jazz. And consequently, the cost curve drops down from the blue line to the red line. So this is our new cost curve. And having experienced these dynamic efficiency gains, now look at what's happened from the monopolist's point of view, from the MC equals MR point of view. So now MC equals MR gives us this level of output, and the price, as determined by the demand curve, is here. And you can see now, ladies and gentlemen, that the monopoly price is now actually less than the original perfectly competitive price. And so that we would describe as a dynamic efficiency gain. Now, of course, you might say, well, they're still not producing at the allocatively efficient point, which is where P equals MC, which would of course be right there. That is true, and I'm not disputing that, but the key point here is that as a consequence of the dynamic efficiency gains, price has dropped, output has gone beyond the original perfectly competitive firm's level of output, yet this monopoly is still able to earn abnormal profit, which in this instance now would be this shaded area. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is the difference between static and dynamic efficiency. Remember, of course, that Joseph Schumpeter, for example, is a great advocate of abnormal profits, because he says that, well, if you didn't have abnormal profit, monopolies wouldn't invest, we wouldn't see innovation, we wouldn't see technical progress, and we wouldn't see potentially these types of dynamic efficiency gains. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for now. See you next time. If this is the first time you've watched one of my videos, thank you. If you're not a subscriber, please do hit the subscribe button. Follow me also on LinkedIn, Instagram, geekonomics.co.uk/events, and Twitter. Links below. Bye for now.